Olaf between waves and crowns. Prologue. The sea breathed calmly, like a giant beast in slumber, yet ready at any moment to open its jaws. The water reflected the cold northern sun, and the cries of gulls blended with the clang of metal on the deck. At the bow of the ship stood Olaf, tall, broad-shouldered, with a thick reddish beard cascading down his chest. His eyes shone with a blue flame in which kindness, cunning, and a thirst for great deeds were all hidden. "Just a little longer and we'll see the shore," he said to the helmsman. "A shore that will bring us gold or enemies?" The helmsman replied with a grin. "Is there really a difference?" Olaf laughed, his deep chuckle carrying across the deck, scattering the sea mist. Thus began another chapter of his life, the life of a warrior, a diplomat, and perhaps a future king. Early years and character. Olaf was born in a small fjord where winters were so long that children would forget the smell of greenery. His father was an experienced seafarer, his mother a wise woman who knew ancient songs and legends. Even as a boy, Olaf stood out among his peers for his ability to listen and remember every detail. He quickly learned how to steer a boat, throw a spear, and yet could sit for hours by the fire, listening to the old skalds. He grew up between two worlds, the harsh reality of a warrior and the gentle realm of dreams. His heart yearned for glory, but his mind sought wisdom. Alliance with Harald Finehair. As Olaf came of age, he began leading sea raids, and soon his fame reached Harald Finehair. They met during a gathering of jarls in Trondheim. "They say you can turn an enemy into a friend," Harald remarked, eyeing Olaf. "Only if he is willing to talk," Olaf replied, "and only if his sword isn't too sharp." They shook hands, and from that moment a strong alliance was formed. Harald saw in Olaf not only a capable war leader but also a man who could help him unite Norway under one crown. First campaigns and fame. Together they set out north to subdue small jarls unwilling to recognize Harald's authority. The battles were brutal. Once, during the siege of a small coastal settlement, Olaf personally led a squad through the fog, circling around to strike the enemy from behind. The fight was decided in minutes. Warriors said Olaf in battle was like a storm, swift, relentless, and unpredictable. Yet after victory, he always ordered his men to care for prisoners and leave civilians unharmed. Family and personal life. Somewhere between campaigns and battles, Olaf married. His wife, Signa, was the daughter of a wealthy merchant. She had a gentle nature but a sharp mind, often helping her husband in negotiations. They had 2 children, a son, Thorvald, and a daughter, Astrid. Olaf dreamed his son would become a warrior and his daughter a wise woman who could wield not only a spindle but also authority. Political intrigues. The road to a united Norway was not easy. Some jarls pretended loyalty while plotting treachery behind closed doors. Olaf had a gift for sensing lies and more than once saved Harald from betrayal. Once, he personally uncovered a secret pact between 2 jarls and a Danish king that could have destroyed the entire alliance. "If not for you, we would have awakened in chains," Harald told him that night. "If not for me, you'd have awakened dead," Olaf replied, pouring him mead. The last campaign. Years passed, and Olaf's strength began to wane, though his mind remained sharp. During the last great battle for control of the southern lands, he led forces to aid Harald. The fight lasted 3 days. On the 3rd day, when it seemed the enemy would break through, Olaf stepped forward, raised his shield, and called on the warriors not to retreat. His cry lifted their spirits, and they managed to turn the tide. Captivity and death. But victory was short-lived. In one of the following raids, Olaf was captured. They chained him to a post in a cold dungeon. When offered his life in exchange for an oath of loyalty, he refused. "I serve honor, not those who keep me in chains." His execution was set for dawn. They say that before his death he looked east, where the sun rose over the sea, and whispered, "Valhalla already calls me." The sword fell, and Olaf's life ended. Yet in the memory of warriors, he remained not as a prisoner, but as a free man who met death with a smile.